Before electronics, emissions gear and lightweight alloys took over. Europe's heavy haulers were powered by iron giants built to last 1,000,000 kilometers, even more. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, these engines were very real. And today, we're unpacking 10 old-school European truck engines that put modern ones to shame. Let's get started. Number 10. Saviem 798 Inline 6. Made in France during the early 1970s, the Saviem 798 Inline 6 was a primary heavy-duty engine for Saviem's SM and JM series trucks. 9.8 liters displacement, roughly 220 to 240 horsepower, 850 newton-meters torque, a direct injection design with a mechanical Bosch fuel pump allowed simple roadside servicing and reliable cold starts without auxiliary heaters. Operators in North Europe loved the model for it. Cast iron block construction, a 7-bearing Ford steel crankshaft, and dry replaceable liners. Put together, they gave the 798 an overhaul interval of more than 600,000 kilometers, with many engines exceeding 800,000 kilometers before a major rebuild. Fuel consumption averaged about a decent 32 liters per 100 kilometers on loaded auto route runs. But all good things must come to an end. After Renault merged Saviem and Berliet in 1978, the 798 was gradually phased out. Impressive, right? Well, it's only going to get better. Number 9. Leyland 680 Power Plus. Introduced in 1964, the Leyland 680 Power Plus was an 11.1-liter inline 6 diesel designed for the heaviest British and export market trucks of the era, including the Leyland Octopus, Beaver, and Constructor models, 200 to 220 horsepower, 900 newton-meters torque. Operators valued its flat torque curve, which allowed fully laden vehicles measuring 30 tons to maintain 80 kilometers an hour on long gradients without excessive downshifting. The Power Plus upgrade featured strengthened pistons, higher compression, and improved fuel injection timing, giving a typical fuel burn of roughly 35 liters per 100 kilometers in long-haul service. A robust cast iron block with dry liners, a 7-bearing crankshaft, and a gear-driven camshaft enabled overhaul intervals exceeding 600,000 kilometers. Many examples surpassed 1,000,000 kilometers with only routine top-end work. Moreover, one could replace the injector on the roadside with basic tools. Also, valve adjustments required minimal downtime. Export demand was strong across Africa, the Middle East, and Australia. The 680 Power Plus remained in production until the late 1970s. Moving on. Number 8. The Berliet MGO V8. Launched in 1967, the Berliet MGO V8 was a flagship power plant of France's heavy-haul Berliet range, including the GRK, TLM, and the giant T100 desert transporters. The diesel engine displaced 14.9 liters, generated 280 to 300 horsepower, and delivered a peak torque output of roughly 1,150 newton-meters. A direct injection fuel system with a mechanically governed Bosch pump provided consistent delivery even in extreme Saharan temperatures. The engine employed a dry sump lubrication system holding nearly 40 liters of oil, ensuring stable pressure during the steep inclines and side angles. Overhaul intervals often went beyond 700,000 kilometers. Some Algerian desert fleets exceeded 1,000,000 kilometers with only piston and ring replacements. Fuel use averaged about 40 liters per 100 kilometers under 30-ton loads. The engine could also start without preheaters in sub-zero European winters. Perfect for European winters, perfect for heavy construction and trans-Saharan haulage. Production continued through the mid-1970s. Many MGO V8s remained in daily service even until the 1990s. Shocking, right? Next up, number 7, Fiat 8210.22 Inline 6. Introduced in 1974, the Fiat 8210 4.22 inline-six diesel engine powered heavy-duty Fiat 180 and later Iveco Turbo-Star tractors, a darling for Italian and continental European long-haul routes. Displacing 13.8 liters, it produced 330 to 352 horsepower and a peak torque of roughly 1350 newton meters. This made it one of the most muscular European engines of its decade. The Bosch direct injection system with a mechanically governed inline pump meant that it was easy to service on the roadside. A robust cast iron block with wet replaceable liners, a 7-bearing forged steel crankshaft, and gear-driven overhead camshaft ensured overhaul intervals north of 750,000 kilometers, sometimes even 1 million kilometers. And it only consumed 34 to 36 liters per 100 kilometers. Cooling relied on a high-capacity water pump and twin thermostats. Spanish Pegaso, Swiss Sauer, and several Eastern European assemblers licensed or adapted the 8210 series for local heavy trucks and buses. Production continued into the early 1980s, and well-maintained engines remained in service even in the 1990s. Moving on, number 6. Magirus Deutz FAL714 air-cooled V8. The Magirus Deutz FAL714 debuted in 1965 as one of the most distinctive heavy-duty truck engines of its era. It used air cooling rather than liquid cooling. It displaced 12.7 liters, produced 230 to 250 horsepower, torque peaked at 1050 newton meters. Instead of a radiator, the engine relied on a belt-driven axle fan forcing air over deep fin cylinder barrels and heads. This meant zero freeze risk in sub-zero climates, plus it reduced weight by nearly 100 kilos compared with equivalent water-cooled designs. Average fuel consumption was 33 to 35 liters per 100 kilometers. 7 main bearings in dry, replaceable liners allowed overhaul intervals beyond 700,000 kilometers. However, many engines surpass 1 million kilometers with only piston and ring changes. The F8L714 powered Magirus 232 and 256 series tractors, fire engines, and export models in Africa, the Middle East, and South America. Production continued into the late 1970s. The engine could operate in both Arctic cold and desert heat. Now, that's impressive. And there's more from where that came from. Number 5, the MAN D2866 Inline 6. Introduced in 1979, the MAN D2866 inline 6 engine became the backbone of MAN's heavy long-haul and construction trucks throughout the 1980s and 1990s. This 11.97-liter direct injection diesel delivered 310 to 360 horsepower and peak torque between 1,400 and 1,600 newton meters. Turbocharged and charged air-cooled versions designated D2866LF improved thermal efficiency and high-altitude performance. Gross combination weights could be up to 40 tons without sacrificing reliability. Overhaul intervals exceeded 800,000 kilometers. Many routinely surpassed 1.2 million kilometers. Fuel consumption averaged 30 to 32 liters per 100 kilometers in highway service. MAN employed a Bosch inline pump with a mechanical governor. This simplified roadside servicing and ensured consistent injection timing even after years of heavy vibration. Applications included the MAN F8 and later F90 tractor units, municipal tippers, and export chassis for the Middle East and Africa. It could maintain the 85 kilometers per hour cruising speed on alpine gradients. All the while, it remained perfectly within European 80 decibel noise limits. Now, that's premium German engineering. Moving on, number 4, Mercedes-Benz OM422 V8. Launched in 1970, the Mercedes-Benz OM422 V8 displaced 12.8 liters, delivered 240 to 280 horsepower, and peak torque around 1,050 newton meters. Each Bosch mechanical inline injection pump provided precise fuel delivery while remaining simple to calibrate in the field. It boasted a massive cast iron block, wet replaceable liners, 7-bearing forged steel crankshaft, and a gear-driven camshaft. This translated to 750,000 kilometers on the road without an overhaul, but many fleet records document engines surpassing 1.2 million kilometers before a major rebuild. It only consumed 32 to 34 liters per 100 kilometers. A high-capacity cooling system with twin thermostats and a belt-driven 7-blade fan kept cylinder head temperatures stable on steep alpine climbs or in 45 degrees Celsius Middle Eastern heat. It could also sustain 85 kilometers an hour cruising speeds. Now that's something. Let's move on. Number 3, the Volvo TD120. Made in Sweden, the Volvo TD120 direct injection inline-six engine displaced 12 liters, delivered 330 to 360 horsepower, and reached 1,450 newton-meters of torque. A whole-set turbocharger and charge air cooler improved thermal efficiency and high-altitude power. The engine could execute 40-ton gross combination weight operations, and the fuel consumption was only 30 to 32 liters per 100 kilometers. Overhaul intervals averaged 800,000 kilometers, but it could be as high as 1.3 million kilometers, even more. The TD120 powered Volvo F12 and G89 tractors. Its wide, flat torque curve let fully loaded rigs sustain 85 kilometers an hour on 6% grades without frequent downshifts. Export success was strong across Western Europe, the Middle East, and Australia. Up next, number 2, Scania Vabis DS14 V8. Unveiled in 1969, the Scania Vabis DS14 V8 was a 14.2-liter direct injection engine, 350 horsepower, 1,350 newton-meters of torque, twin-cylinder heads per bank, and a Bosch inline mechanical pump ensured consistent fuel delivery and simplified servicing. It could sustain 40-ton gross combination weights. Overall intervals exceeded 900,000 kilometers. Many fleets surpassed 1.4 million kilometers before a full rebuild. Fuel consumption averaged 34 liters per 100 kilometers in long-haul service. Impressive? No? Well, the best is yet to come. Feast your eyes on this. Number 1, Gardner 6LX Series. Introduced in 1958, the Gardner GLX series became the gold standard for fuel-efficient, long-life heavy truck engines in Britain and across the Commonwealth. 10.45-liter displacement, 150 to 180 horsepower, 800 newton-meters torque. Highway averages were an impressive 26 to 28 liters per 100 kilometers for 30-ton gross combination weights. These figures are unmatched even by contemporary European diesel engines. Gardner's proprietary mechanical injection system featured individual unit pumps for each cylinder, allowing easy roadside calibration and extremely consistent fuel delivery. With overhaul intervals routinely exceeding 1 million kilometers. Many engines surpassed 1.5 million kilometers before requiring a major rebuild, a record documented by UK fleet operators. And it operated below 80 decibels at cruise. Even after production ended in the mid-1980s, the 6LX remained prized by restorers. Well, that's about it. Which one of these is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Love trucks and want to learn more? We upload regularly. Subscribe to get on board.